high sex drive or low sex drive, I just want to insert that it is not gender specific.
Disconnect is a symptom and not the root of the problem.
It doesn't diminish me in any way to come meet you where you are, physically, emotionally, because I care about you and I care about this marriage.
Have you ever felt like you and your spouse, you guys love each other deeply, but when it comes to that area of physical intimacy, the two of you seem like you're living in two completely different worlds? And believe it or not, that's the story of Dana and I. Maybe one of you guys wants sex all the time. The other feels overwhelmed, feels pressured, and even emotionally checked out.
Listen, maybe you've even started wondering, is there something wrong with me? I know I've asked myself that question. Why don't they want me the way I want them? I know you've asked yourself that question. And here's the truth. A mismatched libido or sex drive, it doesn't just affect the bedroom. It starts to eat at your confidence. It starts to wear on your connection as a couple. And then it starts to impact the way that you see each other. You go from being lovers to just being friends to then even being enemies, all in the same house. And if you ignore it long enough, what happens is a strong and a healthy marriage then starts to become a silent and painful one.
And if I could be honest for just a few moments, few things really hurt a marriage more than feeling unwanted or even feeling pressured. And when desire goes unbalanced, the enemy then wants to take a moment to twist it into shame, into guilt, into rejection, and into resentment. And for the husbands, and I just want to speak to you guys because I'm right there in the thicket with you, amen. I know the feeling of having the moment where it felt as if, my wife, did she really desire me as a man? Or maybe something was wrong with me as a man. Maybe I wasn't as physically attractive to her. And maybe that's why she wasn't giving me the same energy. Or, and this is a frustration for many. Is this something I'm supposed to live with for the rest of my life with my wife? Because the truth be told, when I said I do, this is it. And so, I get it. And prayerfully, by the end of this episode today, I really believe that there's something we're going to be sharing specifically to the men here that I believe is going to encourage you in the journey.
And I, understand the perspective of the wife, of course. In the high sex drive or low sex drive, I just want to insert that it is not gender specific. So you can have, although statistics show it's typically the man who has the higher sex drive up until about 40, 45, and then things change. And then things change hormonally for women, and so then that kind of shifts. But in this context, for the wife, I think if you're the one with the lower sex drive, you start feeling like, is there something wrong with my body? And why can't I be what my spouse needs me to be? And then the enemy starts introducing this idea that makes you feel as if you're broken. Because you can't, quote unquote, perform or be on or match your partner's sex drive.
That's good. And so, guys, I want y'all to hang with us today, because in today's episode, we're going to be sharing a real story of what we have been able to implement here as of recently that has allowed us to start working towards breaking free of this years of mismatched desires. Now, I want to be honest, it's not a quick fix. It's not a pressure-filled conversation, and it's not just try harder. That's not what we're here to communicate today. We're going to be giving you guys the 3 shifts that have really transformed, in my belief, that has transformed the area of physical intimacy for both Dana and I.
Absolutely. With couples, 1 in 5 is a big number to experience mismatched libido. And it's important for the partner with the low sex drive to understand that they're not broken. And it's just as important for the other spouse to understand your spouse is not broken. Just because they don't desire sex to the same degree that you do, it doesn't mean that they're less loving, that they're less spiritual, that they're less sexual or attracted to the other partner. It just means that their desire needs a different type of spark. And understanding what gets your partner started, jump starts their engine, if you will, is key when you're dealing with someone who has low libido. It's kind of like that idea of the microwave versus the oven. You pop something in the microwave, you press the little express button, 2 minutes later, you've got a piping hot pocket. Oven is different. You got to set it, and then you got to give it a little bit of time to get to the desired temperature. For the low libido partner, that's really what it is. It's not a lack of love. It's sometimes a lack of safety. It's a lack of warmth, and sometimes it's a lack of time. Wow. Give me a moment to build up to the temperature so that we can make it do what it do.
I had to also learn this, and I'm really, excited to revisit this conversation. If you spend any time with us over the last year or 15 months or so, we've talked a lot about our challenge in the area of physical intimacy. Right. We were having this conversation before shooting this episode about the spiritual work that took place. Right. And so the conversation we're having right now, I want to make sure we lift the idea that this is post us doing the work that we needed to do in our relationship with God. This conversation is deemed towards those of us who are Christian couples who are trying to do our best to live a life that honors God in our covenants. And we've for years have argued the only way that we can tolerate and handle and build a strong marriage it's got to be attached to our relationship with God. And so, this conversation today is post that spiritual work. There was a season where my sex drive was high. Now, I'm gonna just be honest; it ain't where it used to be, that's all I'll say about that. But I had to wrestle with this season of having a high drive, but also at the same time feeling like I was being selfish, that because I wanted my spouse, it wasn't that I wanted sex, I wanted to be with you. I wanted to be with the lady that I said I do to. And I had to accept that there was nothing wrong with wanting connection with my wife. But the question that I had to learn on the spiritual side of things is if I'm going to pursue her, I've got to make sure that I understand the delineation between initiating from pressure or play. And I spent many years
putting on the
pressure and putting on the pressure kind of remove the helium of joy from it. And so you weren't really that motivated. And so I had to really work through the space of giving you the freedom to say, not right now. Not right now didn't mean no, I don't ever want to be involved with you physically, but it could just have been, a timing issue. And so let's speak to that for just a second.
Yeah, absolutely. I think approach is everything, right? Nobody wants to feel as if all somebody wants is your body. Yeah. And also nobody wants to feel pressured to have to give something that they're not in the mood to give, or be made to feel like somehow they're wrong or selfish because that time has not been given to build up. Our dynamics of how we go about our day is very different. The ways that we are different is not just in the bedroom. Yeah. And that's why we said on the front end, what's going on in the bedroom is really a mirror of what goes on outside of the bedroom. Yeah. And we just operate through the day very differently. You're very focused, very driven, very linear in thought and effort. You're very routine. And so I'm not that way. Yeah. Yeah. And I am structured. However, I have to have things kind of in order. You're able to work in kind of like this organized chaos. You kind of float through your day.
My life's got to be chaotic.
No, I mean,
talking about organized chaos.
It is. It's organized chaos. Listen, if you're not already on my schedule for the day, you're not getting on my schedule that day. You know what I mean? You can just pop in and out of a schedule. You're a lot more fluid. Yeah. And so for me, little things can kind of throw me off, because my mind is here and there and everywhere, whereas you're very linear. So if your mind is on putting your sermon together, that's where your mind is. If your mind is on sex, then that's where your mind is. Yeah. The house could be burning down. If your mind is on sex, you're like, can I get a little bit before we call 911? So I'm not that way. My mind is like, did we set the alarm? Is the door locked? Did the dog eat? Did the kid get that? All the things. And so that spills over into the bedroom, in that you can flip a switch and be ready. I need time to get my mind ready, body ready, spirit ready. I got to put the music on, light the candle, dim the lights. He like, girl, we don't need any of that.
At all.
You don't even have to be naked. Like, just let's go. And so we're just different in that way. So I'm glad that we finally got to
Right.
the point of I stopped making you feel like you were some sort of pervert.
Yeah, yeah.
And you stopped making me feel like I was selfish and broken.
Right, right.
And so we got to a place of mutual understanding that neither of us is wrong. We're just different.
Right. I think for, and we can even bring it to as recent conversation we've had. We want to invite you guys into that conversation too, because I think sometimes, when you're dealing with something in the season in which you're in, I think some couples feel like that they're the only ones that are dealing with it.
Right.
And even though we spend time pouring into countless couples and numerous of persons, we lead a growing church here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It doesn't change the fact that the enemy still works overtime to really stress out that area of physical intimacy for us.
Stress out is a good way
Yeah,
to put
it is stress out. It'd be thuggish, ghetto. Do you hear what I'm saying? And what ends up happening is you find yourself slipping into where there's been a void that you just didn't know that was there until you look up and say, "Oh my God, it's been 2 weeks. It's been 3 weeks.
And
it's
now
been
you're
4 weeks." And now
frustrated.
you're frustrated and you can't figure out. And so now you got to try to work back. How do I revisit this area? And that was us here as of recently.
Right.
We just came off of poured into about 50 couples on spent 2 days with 50 couples, which, by the way, we're going to talk about that a little bit at the end of the episode, because we want to invite you guys to something that's happening here in the next week or two. But after pouring into all of these couples, we end up finding ourselves in a void season, in a white space season, if you will, in the area of physical intimacy. And it got very, very frustrating, got very emotional, because our times were not aligning. We were running hard, growing church, and
We had a lot of stuff. And that's the other thing I will say, not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but our schedules are pretty, there's certain things or certain times and seasons that are the same every year. And I don't think we did a good job of really gauging that we were coming up on one of our busiest seasons of the year. And there's more added to the calendar this year than there were in times past, simply because of the growth of ministry. And you've been doing a lot of travel. I've been doing some travel. We've had more things added to the calendar on the church. There's more people pulling. We've got people pulling even outside of the church. We've got big things happening in our family. And so there was just a lot on us where we would normally have time to kind of slow down and connect and do date nights and kind of just spend some time, over tea and coffee at our favorite little spot. We really hadn't had time to do that. And I think what suffered was our sex life.
Yeah, and just to speak to the couple that may be there, you might be in that season where it's like us, just as early as a few weeks ago. So I'm not talking about something we're too far removed from. Like that tension always will revisit the relationship. But what you have to learn to do is to confront it, attack it immediately, and avoid the tendency of making the spouse the responsible party.
Right.
Now, I'm sharing this advice to you all
post
conversation. So, I made her my nefarious nemesis in that regard, just because I felt like you could help fix this irritability that I'm having right now. So let's give them, I know we've got some stuff here, but let's, you're a much better storyteller than I am. So I really want you to make sure you paint the picture right. So let's invite them on what happened as of a few weeks ago. And then we'll give you guys some things some steps we took, in our media room and having this conversation. We'll talk about that through the conversation, but let's at least tee up the story, what actually happened.
So we had gone, I think, probably 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah.
Without connecting. And he was frustrated, I was frustrated, but his frustration showed up as him being very quiet, standoffish, cold.
I don't know if I ain't gonna let you tell the people I was cold towards you. I don't know that I was cold. I'll take quiet What was the other word you used?
Standoffish.
Maybe standoffish. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I asked you to do the story.
You did.
Got you. I'm sorry.
And,
Y'all pray
this
for
was,
me.
This was my experience.
Okay.
It's like you go outside and it's 65 and somebody say, it ain't cold out here. You don't know what my skin feels. How you gonna tell me I'm not cold?
Tell the people the story.
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
He was cold. And I was like, I was tired as well.
Yeah.
And I knew immediately, because this is a familiar pattern, I knew immediately where this was coming from. And I was like, well, I don't have the energy to deal with this either.
Mm-hmm.
You're not the only one who's frustrated.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated as well. So if you want to be some kind of way because you're not getting any, well, guess what? I can be quiet too because I'm not getting any either, bruh. And so we went kind of all day that way.
That's right.
You know, I texted him, hey, I'm going to go get something to eat. I'll be back. You know, he went somewhere to go do something, and you know, and we were just communicating via little short texts.
What do
with each other.
real quick? But and I want to insert in here. You know, many years ago, we made a decision that I wouldn't seek to pleasure myself without you, because all it did was contribute to the further frustration.
Mm-hmm.
So, real quick, speak to that? Like, you know, now, you know, your marriage is your marriage, right?
Right.
But for me, for us, I mean, I did, and I think that's also like I'm holding out, waiting on you. Like,
Right.
you know, when you know, when she finally come through, bro, man, gonna come through, and you know, nobody came through.
Right.
Do you want to speak to that for a quick second?
Yeah, and to your point, you know, how people decide to handle their dry season,
Yes.
we'll leave that on you guys. Just keep it holy.
Right.
You know,
but it's hard to keep it holy when you got to have a picture, when you have to have a stimulant, when you got, can you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We made a decision to not indulge in that because it just feeds the desire. It
Right.
doesn't, you know, satiate it. It doesn't satisfy it. It actually feeds it because it's not the real thing. You know what I mean? It's like going to the strip club and you get a lap dance and you get worked up. And well, y'all the saints. I'm sorry, y'all may not know nothing about making it rain.
I have never been to the strip club. I've never.
Do I scoot my chair over for the lightning that might be ready to strike? I don't know. But anywho, you know, so we found that was not satisfying. It was actually contributing to deeper frustration
and distance.
Yes, absolutely, because
it's
like, okay, I'm not going to keep pursuing you because I can just knock this out right quick and at least be temporarily satisfied. And so, and just to be clear, this wasn't this break or those 3 weeks. It wasn't like either of us was pursuing the other person and being rejected. We both just weren't being intentional about coming together. So I'd get into bed tired and kiss roll over. He'd get into bed tired. You know, finally shut the TV. You know, fall asleep to the TV.
Or you doing this.
Yeah, or I'm over there on my phone scrolling. You know, so I feel like you're still trying to make me wrong.
I'm not trying to make you wrong.
Are you sure? Are you healed? Are you good?
I'm healed.
Do we need to pray? Do we need to revisit the conversation?
No, we good.
Because I feel like maybe you didn't say everything you needed to say the other day.
I did say what I needed to say.
Okay.
I said what I said.
I'm trying to. Oh, so you said what you said.
No.
Okay. Because I'm
kidding.
trying to paint a very benign picture
You're
here,
doing
and
very
I feel
good.
like you
Amen.
keep
Go
trying
ahead.
to take
I'm
shots.
sorry. Please forgive me.
Okay.
Please forgive me.
I just want to know what we do.
Forgive me.
That's all.
Go ahead.
I like to play the game you want.
I know
play,
you do, and you
so.
can be petty, so it's okay. Go ahead.
So, you know, we were just kind of texting, and so finally I texted him, I said, are we going to talk?
Yes, you did. You did. Because I was in my media room.
Yeah, he wasn't fooling with me. He was like, whatever. And so I texted him, I said, are we going to talk?
You did.
Even that shows progress in our marriage.
That's huge.
Because typically I'm like, I can play whatever game you want to play. Like, I like my own company. If you don't want to talk to me, it's okay. And I'm like, no, we've grown past that. Yeah. And I do care that there's distance between us. I don't want to walk around in the same house with my spouse and we pass by each other and don't even speak. Yeah. It grieves me that he's frustrated, even though I'm frustrated as well. So I said, you know, do you want to talk? Or are we going to talk? And he says, I'm upstairs in the media room.
That's where I was.
I'm like, you really kind of, you pushing it, bruh. But okay. I love you. It's no, it doesn't diminish me in any way to come meet you where you are.
That's good.
Physically, emotionally,
That's good.
it doesn't diminish me because I care about you and I care about this marriage. So I come upstairs, she shuts the TV off, and we begin to talk. I says, hey, I understand that you're frustrated, and I know it's because we haven't had sex. Do you want to talk about it? And he was like, yeah, man, I don't even really know what it is to talk about. It's the same old, same old. It's always the same thing. And, and I'm just really tired of it. And I says, I understand. I said, but can I share with you that just like you're frustrated, I'm frustrated too.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to have sex too, and I'm not. I said, and the issue is not that we don't love each other, not that we don't want to come together. The issue is you like sex at night. I like sex in the morning, and neither of us are making the effort to meet the other person where they are.
That's it. Yeah.
It was selfishness on both parts. It was fatigue on both parts, and just frustration with. I think we both were just like, God, like this is a lot of work.
Ridiculous.
Right.
Yes.
And so, we talked through it, but it came with tears.
It did. You did.
It did because I felt like for 20 years, our dysfunction in our sex life has been my fault. Or at least in your purview, it's my fault. And I told him, I says, no, I can't bear the full responsibility of our dysfunction.
And that wasn't the intent. I wasn't trying to make it your fault.
But that's the way I felt. Yeah. Like, here we go again, you're not giving me none. And I had to help paint the picture.
And you did a great job.
That, sir, you don't stop in the middle of your day to have sex with me. You don't wake up in the morning and roll over to have sex with me. Just like at night, I don't make an effort to try to have sex with you. I get into bed, I scroll on my phone for a little bit, and then I go to bed.
And we're going to help you guys, and really help you all unpack how we handled it, because I think that's important too. You can throw a problem at your partner, but at the end of the day, someone has to make a decision and say, okay, it's out there.
Right.
What are we going to do?
Right.
And I want to encourage you guys to do the same thing. And today we're talking about physical intimacy, but it could be anything. It could be finances. It could be kids. It could be, careers. It could be business. It could, whatever it is, every marriage has the thing, know. And, if you've ever gotten to know Dana and I on a personal level, if you've been a part of our ministry, followed us socially on any level, that, 10 toes down, I love this woman. I love her. Do you hear what I'm saying? And you better not come for her, because then you got a problem. I love her extremely deeply. But sex or physical intimacy seems to be the place where we contribute to hurt towards one another the most, which means that love does not guarantee that you won't hurt your spouse. And so you got to figure out, although you love your partner, what's the one thing that's contributing to the hurt in the relationship? Accept it, own it, and recognize you're going to have to talk through it. And for us, it just happened to be this, okay? And so let's get to...
I want to say this, we talked through it, we'll get to later what our solution was, but we both had therapy sessions around this time, and I brought this to my therapist because our solution, I wanted to just kind of talk through how I was feeling about the solution, and we'll get to that. But the therapist said something. He says, one thing I applaud you two on is something that I've seen you, we've had the same therapist for years. He said, you guys contend for your marriage.
That's good.
You guys fight for your marriage. He says, you guys are willing to have a hard conversation. You're willing to look the problem in the face in unity and say, okay, now that we're over our feelings, this is the problem and how do we fix this? He says, and you guys don't give up, even though you've tried this angle and it works for a little while. And then you try this angle. And he says, but you guys keep contending and fighting for your marriage. He said, and if I could get more couples to do that, I could see more couples win. He says, you don't know how many couples I see that just give up. And so I want to encourage those of you that are listening, contend, fight for it. Your marriage is worth it. And here's the deal. If you don't fight for this and you get into a relationship with somebody else, you're going to have to fight with them about something else. So no relationship was without that thorn, that issue, that need to press and fight for it.
Right,
And so I can't think of anybody better to fight for than
Than
you.
you. Absolutely. And I guess that's, one of the benefits of this channel. I know that there are a lot of channels out there that minister and speak to couples and speak to relationships, but I think the oil flows when you and I spend time talking about physical intimacy, because it's been the uncharted waters for us in our relationship, and we're going to continue to do that. But what we want to do, for the next few moments is give you guys an idea of the 3 shifts that we want to suggest that you can take action on immediately. And just as of recently, we recognize that the disconnect is a symptom and not the root of the problem, which meant that our lack of connection was an issue of perspective. If we can get couples to recognize that your spouse is not an enemy because they're not delivering on what you may feel like you need, but really work on that perspective issue. Because most couples will argue about sex, but the real fight is happening in the heart. And that's where I was. I it was like I woke up and one day and I'm like, why am I irritable? What is
You were on one.
Yeah, I was on one that day. I didn't want to take no calls. I didn't take no meetings. I didn't.
You had your hoodie on, pulled all up over your head. I'm like, is he in sackcloth and ashes? What is going on?
So there was just, and we got all of this stuff happening around
that's
us. It's
true.
like a lot of life happening around us and having to be on and all of that. And so it just was a lot. And I just woke up one day.
That baby was over it.
Oh, I had built up 3 weeks.
Lord.
The episode with the clubs.
Oh.
So I had built up some emotional resentment and unknowingly, and it kind of built up over time. And what it wasn't 3 weeks. It was when I finally slowed down and realized there was a need. And I think the night before, you just wasn't picking up what I felt like I was putting down, which probably was nothing. And so,
And can I speak to that?
you can, yes, you can.
So whatever the area of issue is for you in your marriage, you have to be intentional.
Yeah.
You can't afford to be lazy there.
Yeah.
And that's really what happened. We were so tired.
We were tired.
We didn't have anything left to put forth any effort, but we still had a need.
Yeah.
And so I think we both were like, well, if you want it, make
Come
the move.
get it. And I'm like, no.
And neither of us had the energy to make the first move or pursue the other person. Yeah. And because this is our thorn, we can't afford to get there. Right. Somebody has to be willing to make the effort. Right. Both of us have to be willing to make the effort. So
healing, I think for, something that we've come to accept, healing can only happen, in this area when we stop apologizing for what we need. Mm-hmm. I accepted that there was nothing wrong with me because I needed physical connection. Mm-hmm. However, how I communicated it, which is where this idea of perspective come in. Yeah. I want the men that are listening to me right now, you don't have to feel guilty because you desire intimacy. But you gotta find a way to express the desire without it making you angry, manipulative, and enter into this idea of entitlement. The need is real, but the approach, it does matter. And I recognize that was my issue. My approach was wrong, and that's just is what it is.
Right.
What would you say to the wife?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're using, again, husband and wife, but this is basically whoever has the higher sex drive or who is feeling like their needs are going unmet. You're exactly right. Your approach matters, because if you think you weren't getting none before, now you won't even speak to me. Not the best way to go about, drawing me closer into you. And so the approach definitely matters, because the enemy has done an amazing job at taking something beautiful and perverting it. And so for a lot of people, sex already comes with a measure of shame.
It does,
and guilt and feeling dirty and all the things, right? So when you have a partner who doesn't approach you correctly or is approaching you from a place of anger or frustration, particularly if you've had some sort of trauma or something like that in the past. It just reinforces this idea that I'm only good for one thing, or my partner is just like everybody else. They only want me for one thing. And it drives a deeper wedge between you two versus driving your point home.
Yeah. And I had to grow past seeing you as a machine and recognizing that you're a whole person. And that's just
I'm more than just beauty.
you are beautiful.
Hello.
Amen. But I also noticed over time that the desire began to grow because you felt more safe. And so if I could give you guys any practical wisdom with just the first shift that we made mention of, and recognizing that the disconnect is a symptom and not the root to the problem, which means that it's an issue of perspective, I would encourage you guys to do the regular check-ins. And we're going to be very, very practical in just a few moments and what we mean by check-in. And then also asking without the pressure, being specific about what the need is. Sometimes I'll just be, sometimes too candid about what I need. I don't want to just, I need the plus package. Is the plus package available today?
I wish you had better lines. We've
My
talked
lines,
about this before.
I pulled you.
Your lines,
my best
you pulled
line.
me in spite of, not because of. Your lines are horrible. I've had drunk old men
Oh my
with
goodness.
better lines in the club. Your lines are awful.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And so, just very affectionate, but not very romantic. I'm gonna find a book that is just a book of lines.
Amen.
Some romantic lines, some sexy lines. Stuff like, you want to take a nap. You don't want to take a nap.
I haven't used that line in a while.
Thank God.
I haven't used that line, but fellas, it's a
Nope,
line.
don't use that line.
Okay.
Don't use it. No wife wants to be asked, "Do you want to take a nap?" That's not a good line. What am I, in kindergarten? Do you want to take a nap?
Move on. What's the second shift? Come on. What's the second shift?
Stop measuring sex by frequency.
That's good. Man.
You don't get to choose your sex drive. Your brain does that for you. Another thing therapists said is the biggest sex organ is your brain. We think it's the parts that we can touch, our genitalia, and it's not. It's your brain. And so, we can't always pick, I'm going to be high sex drive today. And there's things that we can do to supplement, and you can get your hormones checked and, all of that sort of thing to make sure your levels are good and whatnot. But you don't really get to, control the biology or even the mental space behind how you show up sexually. But there is something that's, that drives. Are you a spontaneous lover, or are you a responsive?
Responsive. That's
lover?
What I wanted to read here. That we did some research on this subject. According to a leading sex therapist, they argue that our libido is influenced by a mix of biology, hormones, stress load, emotional safety, trauma, and the body's natural wiring, not willpower, not holiness, and not even trying harder. And these leading therapists, as you mentioned this spontaneous versus responsive desire. And this one shift has helped couples from around the world. They argue the two types of desires, spontaneous and responsive. Let's talk about that for just a second, because I thought that was a really, really good article in my research. Why are you laughing? What is funny? What is funny? Come on. Let's talk about the spontaneous desire.
Yes, that is. I just woke up ready. I'm ready to go. I'm always ready to go. That's spontaneous. The wind blows and now you're ready to go. Your favorite song comes on, now you're ready to go. Whatever. And it's more common in men, but not exclusively, especially as we age and that sort of thing. It shows up first, and then the body responds. Versus the responsive desire is, I want it, but I need the connection first. I need the lit candle. I need the playlist. I need the back rub. I need the safety. I need the build up to get the fire going. This is more common in women, but again, not exclusively. And it's more common in men when they are under some sort of stress or strain. So when men are, kind of stressed out and things are going haywire, life is falling apart, they tend to be more responsive than spontaneous. And neither is more godly, neither is more right or more holy or anything like that. They're just different. And it's important to know which one you are and which one your partner is, so that then you can respond accordingly.
That's good. I want to make mention too that, almost every long-term marriage, with us being married for nearly 20 years, that relationship experiences desire deficiency. And I want to make sure we point that out, that every marriage, especially if it's long-term, you're built, like for us, we're in it for the long haul. I'm going to spend the rest of my life with her. It is the norm and it's not the problem. Your frequency doesn't measure the health of your marriage. Your connection does. And, I remember, a few weeks when we had, that conversation, and which will lead to the next point here in just a moment. But instead of moving to the physical aspect of it, I think it kind of shocked you. I said, no, I just want to connect with you. I want to reconnect with you. And so we just connected. Do you remember that?
So here's what's interesting.
Yeah, come on. Amen. Oh, go ahead.
Here's what's interesting is you didn't say anything.
I didn't.
So I didn't know that's what we were doing. And so I'm sitting here trying to stay awake.
I just held you, though. I just held you. And
yeah, but I thought it was leading to something. And I'm sitting here, stay awake, stay up, girl. Stay awake and stay wet. Come on, stay up. Stay up. You got this. And then I said, babe, are we gonna, are we gonna? And you said, oh no, I'm actually kind of a little tired right now. That's not even what I'm looking for. On the inside, I was like, I wish I had known that 30 minutes ago.
But I enjoyed you being awake and us watching the TV together or movie together. I enjoyed it. So it did benefit, did it not?
It did. But I was a little thrown off because I thought we had agreed on something.
We did.
And then we get into bed and I'm trying to
because I didn't. My argument was, I understand the need for connection. I didn't just want the physical act without being connected to you. And I felt like we had been running so hard. I just needed to reset and connect before.
Was it because you made me cry?
Well, yeah, you did cry. Listen, Tyler Kohler, if you need someone to...
Oh,
I'm just kidding. You don't have to be in sync 24/7. Amen?
Yeah, move on.
But you do need rhythm. That's what I was aiming to do, was to just reset the rhythm, finding a way to understand each other. We communicated our needs, and, we wanted to make sure that the pursuit led to feel more like a connection and not just pressure, which leads to the final shift that I want to make mention of. And I hope you all have been blessed by this episode. Please let us know in the chat if you are checking us out for the first time. Give us a like, give us a share, and hit that subscribe button. We're doing everything we can to really get 100% back into giving you guys the content that you all desire. But this third step, I thought seemed a little basic, but I thought it was necessary. I thought it was brilliant. It was, we made a decision to play with the idea of scheduling physical intimacy, all the way down to taking our phones, syncing alarms. So there are 3 days out of the week. Is that right? 3 days out of the week, where we have an alarm set for a certain time of the day. Now, just candidly speaking, we mentioned how she wants it at a time of the day that I don't want it at the time of the day. Now, your homegirl over here, wake up in the morning, she ready to go. I'm waking up trying to worship the Lord. I'm not trying to lift
Okay.
up legs. I'm trying to lift up holy hands. Amen. Who shall ascend into the
Okay.
hills of the Lord? He who hath clean hands and a pure heart, who has not lifted up his soul unto vanity. So I'm trying to worship God in the morning. Mother wants me to lift legs in the morning. And so for me, I just can't, I just can't. I couldn't connect. I don't connect in the morning, right? And so we
I've
actually
I've
talked through
already
it.
been up
That
worshiping
ain't
the
got that
Lord.
ain't got nothing to do with me.
So I get up 4 a.m. in the morning to
They don't
worship
have
him.
and you
And
know, in talking through that, we came to that
we
understanding
did.
because I'm like, what is it about you and 8 a.m. But I reckon that she's up at 5 a.m. So she's technically, a third
My
through
day.
through the day. I'm just getting started. I gotta pray. Gotta get my coffee, if you know me, and so I might be good around 1 o'clock. Maybe if I'm not headstrong in a meeting, coaching session, or sermon prep, or reading, or whatever.
So if I don't catch him at breakfast, I'm like, let's try
Right.
lunch. Bro, on a call. He's gotten some divine revelation that he got to write down in his little notebook and all the things. And I'm like, what is the deal? Like, come on. So I'm like, okay, is he like a vampire or something? Like, does he only
Wasn't
like sex
that?
at night?
No.
Does it have to be dark? Like, what is going on? So we talked through this idea that because I wake up so much earlier.
Yeah, and that was after 20 years, that was a revelation
Yes.
years of recently, and I got it.
Yeah, but let's talk. Can I just speak to
Oh,
how
of
I
course.
felt
Okay.
about the scheduling?
Go ahead.
Because when he introduced this idea, I was really defeated by it. I felt really defeated. I felt like, man,
We got
that's
a schedule.
what we come to.
Yeah.
We got a like a dentist appointment. See me every 6 months for a cleaning. Like, I just felt very defeated. I felt like this was just such a non-romantic. It felt like, oh, now it's become a chore. Now it's just become a chore on our checklist of things to do, just like anything else. And I'm always willing to continue to try, but if I'm honest, implementing this initially felt like defeat.
Okay.
And so, he's like, I don't know what else to do, babe. Like, let's just, And so I'm taking my phone out with an attitude. I'm
You
like,
did take your phone out. What time again?
all right, man. What time? Okay. What day? Because the only day you got. Because on Mondays you got men. On Tuesdays we have staff meeting. On Wednesday we have Bible study. So what? Thursday, Friday. Like, I was so defeated because I'm like, wow, I'm having to schedule sex. And I've heard it work for other couples, and they're like, it really took the pressure off.
It does.
It helped us
It
plan
does.
for it.
It does.
But in the moment, it just felt very defeated.
There is a little bit of excitement I get. I was like, oh yeah, it's almost.
I'm there now. Like, when the alarm goes off now, I'm like, bow chicka bow bow,
Right,
but
right.
initially I was just like, oh, this ain't sexy.
And just to be, transparent, not every alarm led to physical
Right.
intimacy. It led to check-in.
Yes.
Hey, how you doing right now? How you feeling, kind of thing. And so I want to, I know we don't. It may sound a little clinical, but I want you to know the goal is to work on the path of increasing the touch points. Because I'm discovering it does set up a nice little vibe.
It also made me, when I shifted my perspective, it made me feel good to know I was on your calendar. I'm on his schedule. Because I think in some of this, what we failed to communicate is we felt like we weren't a priority for each other.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I got my own alarm. When I hear that alarm go off, I'm like,
That's for me.
that's for me.
Yes.
So
that's your takeaway. I want all of you guys to get your phones out, meet with your spouse, and we split the difference. Okay.
Yes.
So that's important. We split the difference. We scheduled equal amount of time where we came to an agreed time of the day, and then time in the evening, and I just expressed to her I don't particularly enjoy it at that time of the day. I feel like I'm not really getting anything out of it, but we talked through that. To Scripture says, in all thy getting, get in understanding. Okay, so we pray that what we have shared today has been of some encouragement, that it has provided you some language to start the conversation with your spouse. Okay, and if you have not heard, I do want you to know that we have an opportunity for you and your spouse to, number one, identify how you show up in the bedroom. Right in the description, there's going to be a link that you can click. And just like your spouse's love language, you now can identify what your bedroom language is. You take a short quiz under 2 minutes. If you answer them, wholeheartedly and honestly, it's going to tell you how you show up in the bedroom, and then you're able to participate in a free 7-day challenge where we want to turn things around for you and your spouse in the area of physical intimacy. So the link is there in the description of today's episode. But not only that, we've got something coming up on December the 4th. It is a virtual Made New Couples Night, and we're looking for 100 couples. For those of you who've been in our inbox, for those of you who are in the comments saying, hey, do you guys offer counseling? Hey, do you offer premarital counseling? Hey, we need help in our marriage. You've sent us those long emails. You've sent us those DMs. We've now have an opportunity. And that was the reason for the time away. We wanted to make sure we put the resources in place because many of you have reached out from literally across the world wanting to engage with us on a more personal level. And what greater way to do it than during this virtual Made New Marriage Night meetup. It's going to take place right in the comfort of your home. It's on an off night of the week. I believe it's a Thursday. We set it to where hopefully you've put the kids to bed. It's at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And there is a small investment, but I want you to know that we made it as minimal as possible. We, part of me is wrestling with just giving it away for free. But I just don't.
It's cheaper than the cost of a date night.
It is.
It's
$27. $27.
So, cheaper than.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Can you even get to drive-through meals?
No, you cannot. No, you cannot.
So it's cheaper than what you would spend on Chick-fil-A or something like that.
The link is in the description to learn more about our Made New Marriage Nights. We want you there. And the only reason why we have a cost associated with it is because we're trying to teach you the principle. You have to invest in your marriage. If we can get couples to realize that, you guys, we've done all that we can for the wedding day. You hire, the caterer, you get the preacher, you get the meeting event, you get all of the things to invest in that big day. What's funny?
I was just going to see if you knew what all to get. We didn't have a wedding, so I was just going to see if you knew what all to get.
I'm going to change that for you. I'm going to change that for you. Well, listen, it has been fun, guys. Thank you all for giving us your time today. We will come back and check out the comments. There are some additional episodes here on the channel. Once again, if this is your first time, I'm Ken.
I'm Dana.
And we are so delighted that you have discovered BennettLife TV. We will see you guys in the next episode. Praying for you guys.